Utah's housing market isn't what you think it is. Everybody's talking about home prices, but prices are just the surface. If you don't understand these 5 numbers, you might be missing out on and losing tens of thousands of dollars on your next investment or purchase or selling of a home. In this video, I'm breaking down the 5 numbers that you have to understand and know in order to navigate the Utah real estate market. These are the numbers that actually drive the market here in Utah, and once you understand them, you'll know better how to make the best decisions and when is the right time to buy and sell real estate. And I promise, these are not just the same numbers that real estate agents regurgitate in market updates endlessly online. These are the numbers that truly matter and that drive the market. And I'll tell you right now, number 2 and number 5 are the ones that shock the most number of people. And if you don't understand them, they're going to cost you thousands. And you're going to be at a massive disadvantage. So here's the plan. I'm going to break down each one of these 5 numbers one by one, and I'm going to show you what they mean and how they really impact you so that you can be best prepared to navigate the Utah real estate market. Let's roll. Number 1 is one of my favorite data points, and that's months of inventory and absorption rate. So what is the absorption rate? It's how many months of inventory we have on the current market. And the best way to tell this story is to paint this picture for you just like this. If we were to not list any new properties on the market, in other words, nobody decided to start selling their home, how many months would it take to sell off all of the current inventory at the current rate at which each one of those homes is currently selling at, and how long would that take for that to happen? Well, right now in our market here in Utah as a whole, we're sitting and hovering right around 4 months supply. Sometimes it's just a little bit below that. Sometimes it's getting close to 4 months supply. And once you get up to about 4 to 5 and even close to 6 months supply, that's what's considered a very balanced market where real estate prices are going to remain stagnant. That's the territory that we found ourselves right now here in the middle of 2025. And moving into the fall and winter of 2025, we're going to see how this plays out moving forward. And for buyers, if this number is low, that means it's harder for you to compete with all of the other buyers in the marketplace. If this number drops below 3 months, below 2 months, or even during the pandemic when this got down to 2 weeks, this means that all of the inventory would have sold off in 2 weeks' time. This makes it incredibly competitive for buyers, incredibly stressful, and you're likely going to be spending much more money than the asking price to obtain that home. Now, that's not the case right now, thankfully, but for buyers, you want to know how this affects your strategy and how and when you can make offers and how much leverage you can have in your bargaining power when you're going for that property. And for sellers, it really dictates what you're actually able to list your home for. If you're seeing a market where there's 4 months inventory and that most buyers are asking for concessions, you're likely going to have to be prepared for that. If this inventory level is at 2 months or 1 month, it gives you more bargaining power, more leverage, and you can increase your asking price for your home. So right now, this number is not only crucial for buyers, but definitely for sellers. And we've seen so many sellers list their homes and the homes are sitting on the market for far too long. It's because the market has shifted, and this data point really helps tell that story. And my favorite perspective on this particular number is this number in the real estate market is the heartbeat of the Utah real estate market. This tells the story as to what buyers and sellers should expect in navigating the real estate market. And without this number, you're just guessing. So knowing your numbers, knowing the market is crucial to having a good strategy. But inventory is only half of the story here, because just knowing how many homes are for sale doesn't necessarily tell you how many buyers are actually buying homes. And that brings us to number 2. Number 2 is pending sales. Pending sales is just a fancy way of saying how many homes are under contract in the market right now as of today. And I like to think of this as the real-time demand indicator. This is telling us what's actually happening. It doesn't necessarily matter how much people want for their property. The only thing that matters is what are buyers doing? What are the homes that are actually selling, and what are buyers actually buying right now? And real estate data in general is kind of lagging when you think about the time that it takes to go through the escrow process and to close on the property. By the time that data reaches the statistics that we're talking about in way of absorption rates and inventory levels, we really are a little bit behind. We're usually 30, 60, 90 days behind what's actually happening today. And I like to think of pending sales as the real-time indicator as to what's happening right now at this very moment, this exact month. And for buyers, if pending sales numbers are dropping, this is good for you. This gives you more leverage because sellers are desperate to get that buyer, and that's you. And so it gives you more leverage. And for sellers on the flip side, if these pending sales are increasing, this gives you the indication that you can actually obtain a higher price. This gives you more leverage and bargaining power on your end of the equation. And this number matters most because it's the most forward-thinking number in terms of all the data points within the real estate market. And I like to think of this as seeing tomorrow's weather forecast as opposed to looking at what happened yesterday. So we're really comparing what happened in the previous couple months or weeks versus what's happening right now today in the real estate market. Now, pending sales really indicates where is the buyer demand right now, but buyer demand is so heavily influenced by what buyers can actually afford. And that's why number 3 on my list is the most painful number for so many Utah families right now. Okay, number 3 is mortgage rates. You guessed it. Mortgage rates are painful for so many people right now, as we've seen these rates increase starting back in about June of 2023 when rates just jumped through the roof. It completely shifted the real estate market, not only in Utah, but elsewhere as well. And this is the most painful reason why people are choosing not to make a move. This is a reason why so many sellers are locked into a 3% interest rate on their existing home, and they don't want to go buy that next house at a 7% rate because their monthly payment is going to be so much more. And to give you context, these mortgage rates change buyer demand instantly. And every 1% increase in mortgage rates decreases a buyer's buying power by about 10%. That's a massive number. So in other words, a $500,000 home becomes worth $450,000 with just a 1% increase in mortgage rates because that's what the buyer can afford at the same payment. And for buyers, locking in a lower mortgage rate is super appealing, but if you wait for the mortgage rates to naturally fall to a really desirable level, you're then going to be competing with all of the other buyers in the marketplace and prices are going to be on the rise. If you lock in a purchase with a higher rate today in hopes that you can refinance to a lower rate tomorrow or next year or in a few years, that's where you gain the most leverage as a buyer, especially for first-time buyers, because you're not having to sell a home in the same market. And for sellers, higher mortgage rates really drastically shrinks the buyer pool and the demand of buyers out in the marketplace. And that's why homes that would have flown off of the shelves in 2021 and 2022 are now sitting on the market for much, much longer before we get those offers. This is natural, this is normal, and it's actually healthy to keep the real estate prices at bay for now. And this number in terms of current mortgage rates is the single biggest lever in the real estate market. This is the lever that dictates what's going to happen in the marketplace with respect to buyer demand, therefore influencing what sellers are able and willing to do. But here's the thing, rates tell you what's possible, not necessarily what's actually happening. To see the actual behavior of both buyers and sellers, you need number 4. Number 4 is days on market. You may have heard this before, but days on market is a crucial data point. This number tells us how long it's taking for current homes to sell. And the days on market can vary greatly from neighborhood to neighborhood and certainly from city to city. And understanding this number based on where you're choosing to buy and where you're choosing to sell is crucial. This days on market has drastically increased from the peak of the market during the pandemic in 2021, 2022. These numbers have greatly increased to a more natural, healthy balance, which is then of course helping prices stay at bay, which I think is a really good thing. But days on market really dictates the strategy for both buyers as well as sellers. And I like to think of days on market as kind of the market's way of cutting through the hype. This is the honesty metric. This is the one that really keeps the facts at bay and shows people what's actually happening in the marketplace right now. And that brings us to the most misunderstood number in the Utah real estate market, and that's number 5. And it might just surprise you. So what is number 5? It's price reductions. Everybody's watching what homes are selling for and average home prices, but what really matters most is how many sellers are choosing to or being forced to reduce their purchase price after they've listed their property. If price reductions are climbing, it means that sellers have overshot their perspective on buyer demand and having to adjust accordingly. And it just means that the buyer demand isn't meeting their expectations. And for buyers, price reductions equals opportunity. This gives you bargaining power and leverage in negotiating concessions or money back that you too could use to buy down your mortgage rate. I've helped countless clients buy down their rates through negotiating concessions from sellers to make sure that they can have a monthly payment that's far better than those current mortgage rates today. So this is a really healthy strategy in this market right now for buyers. Buyers carry a lot of leverage right now, which is really good if you're looking to get into a property before the market really picks up again. And as a general rule of thumb, if over 30% of the listings are dropping their prices through price reductions, you'll know that this is giving you as a buyer more leverage. And for my sellers, if this is the case, we want to make sure that we're not just chasing the number downward and reducing the price a little each week or each month. We want to make sure that you're ahead of the curve and pricing your home correctly from the beginning, because if that inventory sits on the market too long, it becomes stale and nobody wants to buy that house that's been on the market for too long. We want to make sure that we price the home according to what the current market conditions are, and days on market certainly help us tell that story. And I like to think of this number as the honesty check in terms of the psychology of sellers. And what it really does is it shows you where expectations collide with reality. And a lot of sellers are choosing to overlist their properties because they still think it's 2022, when in reality, it might be closer to 2008 for them. So you want to be realistic in your approach, not only in listing your property, but also knowing how to pursue it if you're on the buyer side. So to recap, the 5 numbers you need to watch in Utah real estate are: number 1, months of inventory. This is the market balance number. Number 2, pending sales. This is the real-time demand indicator. Number 3, mortgage rates. This is the affordability lever that the market has on buyers in today's market. Number 4 is days on market. This shows us buyer behavior. And number 5, price reductions. This is giving us the truth meter on what seller psychology really is. And instead of guessing, these 5 numbers really give you the truth as to what's happening in the marketplace. And whether you're buying or selling or both, you're going to know exactly where the market is to make sure that you and we have the best strategy moving forward to make sure that we navigate this process best for you. And here's the kicker. Most people only watch 1, maybe 2 of these numbers. But when you put all 5 of them together, it's kind of like a cheat code. You can actually see what the entire market is doing, and you can be better equipped moving forward. And that is how you make a smart move, and that is how you save or make a lot of money. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Scott Steele, a local real estate broker here in Utah. I help people relocate to and within Utah every single day. And my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. Reach out to us. You can find our contact information down in the description below, or you can book a call with us using that link that you'll find in the pinned comment on this and every video. And if this content is really helpful for you, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel. It helps me get in front of more people just like you. And it only takes a moment just to hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me. And if you're looking to learn more about Utah real estate and life in Utah, check out this playlist next. And until the next video, thanks.